Yo,
Menno,
and
how you
another week,
doing?
another
Oh,
week.
it's great. It's great. As always, a lot of moving parts. A lot of moving
I
parts.
know a lot of moving parts. Yeah, well, my mind is completely consumed with the upcoming World Cup, which is full of
I've heard
moving parts still. But let's see.
I've heard of it. I've heard actually that the demand in the US has been lower than expected, right? Aren't hotels saying that less people than expected? It will still do fine, but I've just seen a lot of discourse around that.
Yeah, but I remember the same thing with the Olympics in London.
Yeah.
I used to travel to London up and down every week, and I had my own hotel, and all of a sudden that hotel, 8 weeks before the Olympics came, was already announcing so prices are going up times 5 or 6, and then I think a week before the Olympics,
Yeah.
everyone was complaining. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, like we're not seeing as many customers as we would like, so they drop prices again. That's what you get. People get
So it's not,
greedy.
so it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Just let's hope it's going to be an amazing tournament, and then
Yeah.
we end with the Dutchies winning it. I'll be happy.
I'm not so sure that's going to happen, but we can
No.
we can hope and pray.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we know one thing for sure: your end is not going to win.
I That's okay. That's okay with me.
For the people who
you
don't know, he's a Kiwi, New Zealand, so they
yeah.
will not win.
That's totally fine. We win other things in life. You got to pick your
That's true.
battles,
You got
know
to
your
pick your battle.
lanes.
Yeah, but speaking of moving parts, and any moving parts that you've seen come by this week, like what stood out for you?
Well, I think moving pictures is a really good thing here. Have you been seeing all this discourse and conversation around the hottest movies in the US and the world right now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All of a sudden, it's no longer the box office is dominated by the big franchises. It feels like some small movies are popping up.
Well, let me show you a Variety article and why YouTubers are turning Hollywood upside down. Because I don't know if you've seen this, but the two hottest movies right now in the US and also the world are Obsession and Backrooms, both of which were created by YouTubers. And there's more nuance there in the sense that it's not as simple as like, oh, these cute YouTubers did it. But moving parts involves here the fact that there's a lot of nuance to this. So I was listening to a podcast recently from, do you know Matt Bellany from The Town? Yeah, so amazing podcast. He used to be the editor in chief of Hollywood Reporter, and then Lucas Shaw is one of the main entertainment writers for Bloomberg. But there's this sort of overall feeling in Hollywood right now that like, oh my gosh, is like the the more exaggerated thing here is like, is Hollywood screwed now, and that all that matters are YouTubers, and that the studios are idiots because they don't know what they're doing. And should we just all be throwing money at YouTubers to get them to make films? Because there's a lot of like records being broken right now. So Kane Parsons is the youngest filmmaker ever to hit #1 in the box office. Kane Parsons is 20 years old, and he's just been making movies on YouTube. He's never made a movie before. And Curry Barker, I think it's the third. Yeah, Curry Barker, is 26. I guess an old man compared to Kane Parsons. Made Obsession, and he previously has been a YouTuber for years, and I guess he's still a YouTuber. And in the third week of Obsession coming out, the box office has actually continued to increase in the gross sales, which is like insane and never happens. So there's this like implication. You're like, okay, what does this mean? Do we need to take YouTubers more seriously as artists? Do we need to think about IP and the kind of stuff that actually is going to work? Because you know what else is interesting here? The Mandalorian also came out, and that did not do as well as either of these. And the
No, that
Mandalorian
hurts. That hurts. I'm
10x.
such a Star Wars fan, but I get it. So the first thing that comes to mind: have these Hollywood producers or executives been living under a rock or something like that? Because maybe it's the first time they're actually experiences in the theaters. But
Yeah,
if you look at time spent and how this younger age, this group of younger people are consuming video, like that is pretty clear. That is a lot on social media, YouTube, etc. Of course, on the streamings. And if you look at like some of the big YouTube creators out there, they've been there around for a long time. I think the big difference is that we're seeing actually filmmakers now rising to the scene, and getting the distribution that they've never had before beyond YouTube. So
Yeah.
I'm a bit shocked that everyone's like, where all of a sudden does this come from? Then there's
Yeah.
another thing. I think Hollywood has had a big lack of innovation anyway. Like
Oh,
looking at the majority of films coming out, what are we now? It's all franchise,
yeah.
and
Fast and
all these
Furious 15.
franchises. Yeah, yeah, and the question is, have these movies really gotten better?
Yeah.
Have they, maybe technically speaking, they have, and probably in budgets because the big stars get paid
Yeah.
more, etc. But have they truly delivered better creative, better storytelling, getting people like excited to see something? I haven't
Yeah.
seen it really that much over the last 10 years. Not a lot of amazing movies that have come by. So
Well,
it felt like Hollywood has just continued of doing what they have been doing and not
yeah.
innovating.
Well, I remember actually Matt Damon on Joe Rogan was talking about how, or maybe it was Matt Damon or Ben Affleck talking about how, um, the reality is like okay, I think he calls it, I think it's right here. He talks about, I think he's maybe this is unfair, but talks about how Netflix ruined filmmaking, because it made less profitable the traditional type of films because people are watching at home now, and therefore you can take less bets in Hollywood that are big swings because you can kind of predict to a degree that okay, Star Wars 7 is going to do at least something good versus a random idea Menno has about like a Dutch farmer in the forest that no one's ever heard of, right? So there's an element of like risk mitigation, but I guess what this proves is that conservative thinking around filmmaking is not gonna save you from, and in a way I think there's elements here when it comes to marketing, right? It's like saying a CMO of a major brand is gonna be reliably working on channels that he or she is familiar with because that is what they're used to. But if you want to take a swing and try like TikTok shop or try something that you haven't done before, you might be nervous about, there's a chance of failure. But when success happens, the whole world calls you a genius, and then suddenly you have articles written about everyone saying like this is the greatest thing ever, this is changing cinema forever, this is the most amazing moment in cinema since Easy Rider came out or Jaws came out. Now the thing is, a lot of this is not brand new. Do you remember earlier this year Iron Lung came out, which was a film that was created, self-financed, produced by Markiplier, who, to be honest, is actually like much bigger than a lot of these other guys. Like Markiplier has 27, I think, million YouTube followers, maybe even more. So compared to Kane Parsons and Curry Barker, he's actually a lot bigger. This film that he made was actually based on gaming IP, but an indie game. It's not like it was a massive game, but gaming IP. And then this grossed, I think, over 100 million. And part of that too is like, if you think about YouTubers, they have this ability to tap into their audience in a way that others don't. You can't just guarantee that, like, okay, one YouTube subscriber means one ticket in the theaters, but you can kind of factor that in as a benefit more than if you're a nobody, right? So if you think about this too, the the studios that actually financed Obsession and Backrooms, like Blumhouse and A24, respect to them. Like they're not Universal, they're not Warner, but they are taking a bet and they are working on this in a way that is actually interesting. Now, did you hear the story about the agent who discovered Kane Parsons?
No, you're going to tell me now, I hope.
Okay, so this is where like the beautiful thing about what we're talking about in the sense that the the best strategy if you're, let's say, a traditional executive in media entertainment, or if you're like a super forward thinking like teenage YouTuber sensation, is to find that middle ground, that marriage between the two. So A24 financed Backrooms. A24 is not like an indie studio, but they're not Universal, right? They're not a massive studio. At this point, they kind of, I think, straddle the middle ground. They're a lot cooler, of course, than your typical studios, but they're still not like a major studio, arguably. Now, I believe it was an assistant who was working at A24 that basically had heard about and talked about, where is it here? Yeah. So a 27-year-old assistant at this production company was finding like niche things. He discovered a Reddit link to Kane Parsons' original short Backrooms, and he said it was so amazing that he messaged him on YouTube. He kind of approached, and of course, there's a lot of success has many fathers, in the sense that there's a lot of people involved in this, probably going to take credit for it. But the assistant saw potential and set up a meeting between 16-year-old Kane Parsons and a senior executive at the production company they were working at. And then it's kind of thanks to this 27-year-old. And to show you the video that he's talking about, this is the original Backrooms from 4 years ago. 82 million views. It's basically this like found footage, this video that Kane Parsons put together where, without giving away like plots or spoilers, this is essentially the concept that Backrooms is based off, which is based off a creepypasta 4chan kind of thread meme internet lore thing. But the thing here is that if it wasn't for that 27-year-old assistant who probably straddles new media and old media, getting the financing and having the idea and getting Kane Parsons to come in and work with a real big production company, this wouldn't have happened. So think about this from like a marketing perspective. Imagine like a 27-year-old junior marketing manager convinces a 50-year-old CMO to be like, hey, check out this TikToker. And it might be an uphill battle. It might be like, oh yeah, sure, I got it. But some of the greatest sort of innovations and ideas and successful things come from that mixture of all these things happening together. Because you can't just rely on like a traditional method of finding talent, whether you're in entertainment or whether you're in marketing, advertising in general.
Not only that, like at the end of the day, this industry is not so much different like the CPG industry or something like that. Like it's very difficult for the bigger companies, the bigger corporates to innovate.
Yeah.
It's always about high investments, etc. You don't want to run the risk of hurting your other franchises, etc., or other brands that you have out there. So in this case, it makes sense that a smaller studio, more challenger, is open to doing new things. And they need to because they can't compete with how the bigger ones are doing it.
Yeah.
But I think there's another element to this as well. And because it feels like there's a lot of test and learn that these YouTube content creators have already gone through. So like, it's not that they've got an idea and let's see if it works. Like they've been working on it for a long time. They know what their community wants. They've got probably a huge, I would assume, a huge community of followers that give feedback, etc. So like, he's not starting from scratch. And I think the second thing that's the big advantage, if you do get the opportunity to have a bigger budget to go with a movie, you can take your community with you.
Yeah.
Like that community is probably dying to see, like waiting to see, like when is that movie coming out? So you can activate that community, etc. And then I think there's a third thing is like the marketing approach is completely different.
Well, the marketing, like talking about the community for a second, like this is like fan submitted artwork. Sometimes, unfortunately, there's like someone here that's a bit angry that he hasn't been credited. Hopefully that person was credited in the end, but this is the thing where like instead of ignoring fans or trying to figure out a way to, I don't know, just take over and be like, okay, let's just pay our really expensive agency to do this for us. Look at this. Like, this feels more real and authentic. You know what I mean? This feels like, okay, this is the stuff that fans have actually created and you're giving them a platform. You're not saying, hey, go away. Like, let's just pay an old school film marketing company to do this, but let's like actually work with the fans here.
Yeah. And also like if you see like the interviews that they give, etc., it feels way more like if they would post something themselves, like their own content, etc. These interviews are cut fast, etc., very native to the platforms, very suitable for Instagram and TikTok, etc. Doesn't feel like they do the normal press releases. Yeah. You get a small cut of the movie to see, etc. It feels way more how modern brands are built or how new brands are built. And it's for me, it's more than finding the talent, giving them the opportunity. It is like adopting that complete ecosystem as it stands and letting these creators do their thing, but just bigger. But let them also like rely on how they would involve their community, how they would do the marketing around it, etc.
This is great because I'm looking at this video right now and you talk about like the cuts between like, so it's interesting. Like you have all these main actors who are in the film. They are interspersing it with actual footage from the film, but also they're sitting as quick cuts it feels like pretty cool. It doesn't feel, and it's very stylistic. You know,
Yep.
it's not just like an old school like press junket, which I'm sure they do as well, but it's not an old school press junket like red carpet thing. You know, okay, look here, A24 has their own podcast, so of course they're going to leverage that as their own like owned media brand to push out the this interview here with
See who
Kane.
liked it?
Who?
Indy Navarrete already liked it.
Oh,
She's from the other movie. She's from
Indy.
Obsession.
Let's and she is one of the prime examples of modern marketing of a new film star. So see, this is great. And we talked about this last week, right? But you
Yeah,
have
it's
all
insane.
these, yeah, all I mean, I don't know American Studies mag, and look at this is a tiny
Yeah,
publication, but it feels more indie. You know what I mean? It's not like CNN interviews
yeah,
Indy Navarrete
yeah.
for this. It's not her going on like Wonderland. This seems like a pretty indie publication. I mean, 1.2 million, but you know, it's not again like like interview mag. It's not just like Variety or
Yeah.
Hollywood Reporter. Uh, and the thing is too, like I think that they're giving her. Okay, actually, I'm thinking about. Remember when Zendaya we were talking about a few weeks ago, and you look at Zendaya's Instagram, it's just her posting like film posters and trailers.
Yeah,
Like she doesn't
yeah,
care.
just feel,
Like
yeah,
yeah, Zendaya would never do this. Like
yeah.
this
But
stuff
she's
right
not
here.
a. She's no. This film weighs more or less as people that are creative, etc. And another thing is like, do you think that like, if you look at the large movie franchises, they were built for my age and people a bit younger,
Yeah.
etc. But if you're going into like I don't know movie version, I don't know the sixth episode of a movie or something like that. Like if they haven't brought in that audience, younger audience, you're not going to step into a franchise that is releasing movie number seven, etc. So it also feels like there's this new generation waiting for new stories to come out,
Yeah.
new angles, the reinvention of
Well,
horror,
well, I mean,
etc. So
the
like,
thing is too. Yeah, well, the I'm looking at this right now, and I haven't seen this before, so this is we're going live here, but um, Backrooms is based on like a very, very deep element of internet lore, where it's not like some random person in Hollywood said, "Let's make like a horror film about this monster that's a result of a science experiment gone wrong in LA." Like, in a way, this is kind of grassroots. I actually was reading this article by I forget this Kara, I forget her last name here, but shout out to Kara who wrote this thing saying the Backrooms wasn't marketed, it was inhabited.
yeah,
Part of this writing, right? So it started with a photograph no one took credit for. A single image appeared on 4chan 2019, and then people like just started building lore around it. I remember actually, this is such a like very Gen Z thing. I was at a wedding a few weeks ago, well, sorry, a few months ago, and then this girl came to me and said, "What's your lore?" You know, and the thing is that concept, like older people be like, "What does that mean?" But this is the thing, like this liminal spaces aesthetic has 100 million TikTok views on their own. It's really hard to describe this, but it's like a photo was remixed and interpreted by the internet in ways that people started making topology of place that didn't exist. People creating TikTok videos around this. It's like a Blair Witch model, but goes further. So respect to Backrooms didn't get marketed at Gen Alpha. Built it. So if you think about some of these topics people talk about like let's say grassroots IP creation or not, relying on traditional gatekeepers, etc. There's a lot of nuance to understanding what that means, but the same way things are happening at a grassroots level when you build, let's say, culture on Fortnite or Roblox, like this is a thing that is emergent from culture rather than something that was a top-down experience.
yeah, no, absolutely. And but what I find so interesting here is like many of these YouTubers have already found their way to the bigger streaming platforms, like Mr. Beast on Amazon, etc., Amazon Prime. Um, but because you would expect, like, is this audience prepared to go to the theater for this? You know what I mean? So, like, it's a huge step from, okay, get it. It's great on YouTube. You have your opportunity to build your community, to see what works, etc. But then all of a sudden, to take it to a theater, a distribution channel that might not be the channel that they prefer to watch on. They prefer to watch on their phone, they prefer to watch it on a streamer, etc. But to actually get them to the theaters and have them pay for it as well, like buy a ticket to see a movie, I think that is just a huge, huge step. And I think it's going to have major consequences as moving forward when studios are seeing like, okay, if we are now competing to, it's a bit like what Zuckerberg said when we were at Meta, like they're never worried about like what the competition is doing that they know. They were always, Zuck was always afraid for the kid in the garage that he wasn't aware of, that he couldn't see on his radar. And it feels a bit that's what's happening right now. All of a sudden they're there. But they've been there for a longer time. It's just a market that they've never been looking at. But all of a sudden it's there. Like probably production timings are faster. We know it's under $1 million, and it could drive $100 million box office in the first week.
Well, a lot of people were saying that, like, part of the reason why before these films in particular, Hollywood was suffering is like, oh, Gen Z doesn't want to go watch movies.
Exactly.
Or Gen Z, Gen Alpha doesn't want to watch movies. Now, there's no way in hell that you can convince me that it was people like of your age, Menno, that were the ones going to the box office for Backrooms or Obsession. It is young people that are doing this. Like,
it is the young people, yeah.
So this
And
this
probably because the young people are looking at it, will get the attention of my age as well. Actually,
Yeah.
I was interested because my son went there. And he liked the movie.
Did your son watch Backrooms or Obsession?
No, he went to Obsession
Did he like it?
in the theaters. Yeah, he loved it. Really good.
Are you gonna watch
But he
it?
loves this phenomena of horror. So he's really into that now. But you showed the Blair Witch Project, 1999, was it correct?
Yep. Yep.
What happened in the meantime? I think you got some cheap spin-offs or some copycats in the market after that. But it's been quiet actually ever since. Like it's not that anything like this really popped up, but now all of a sudden it's there.
I guess you could argue like Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity was very big. I forget when that came out, 2000 and early 2000s. And that was also on like a very small budget. But yeah, Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity, that's pretty much it. I would give a shout out to as well, Talk to Me. That film that came out, horror film came out a few years ago. And it was created by YouTubers, the Filippo brothers. And that did really well. I think it grossed over 100 million, and they were like similar to this, people who are YouTubers by trade, I guess you call it. But with some of these people too, like I was listening to this interview earlier today from The Town, interviewing Kane Parsons, and Matt Bellany's asking him. It's interesting. You have a person, Matt Bellany, who I guess typifies the Hollywood establishment. Like I really like his podcast, but he's been in Hollywood his entire career. He used to be the editor of the Hollywood Reporter. He's probably got the #1 entertainment-focused podcast in the world for executives. Like, did you see he was featured in The Studio? He was a character in The Studio. This guy here on the left. But you freeze frame this for a second. This guy on the left, I mean, I'm a big fan of him, but the person he's sitting across is 20 years old and is probably the hottest director in the world right now, alongside Curry Barker. And he's like, if you listen to this interview, he obviously cares about doing films and stuff, but he's also not saying he's going to stop using YouTube. YouTube is arguably a stepping stone, but it doesn't become something they graduate from and stop doing. Like, Kane Parker's not going to stop making YouTube videos. Curry Barker's not going to stop making YouTube videos. This is just a supplement. And then you think about it, maybe they do different types of projects, because on YouTube, they'll still have the ultimate freedom. Even if Universal gives them tens of millions of dollars or more to make another film, they still have even more freedom on YouTube to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, and also, to stay close to the community, build the community, test and learn, see what works. So it would be stupid to walk away from that, as I think it gives them such a competitive advantage to traditional studios. I would stay close to it, but of course, like now with theaters coming up, probably the film will be released on streamers as well. Like the opportunity to monetize it is much bigger. And also for him to invest in new things that he'd like to do, etc.
This is so great. And the thing that's interesting here is like the support, right? Like people are behind this because it's kind of an underdog story too. You know, this isn't another Christopher Nolan film or James Cameron, and of course we all love Christopher Nolan and James Cameron, but dude, Kane Parsons is 20 years old. Curry Barker is 26. This is the moment where, have you ever read that book, Easy Riders and Raging Bulls? You ever heard of this book?
Yep.
Yeah. So like the whole, for anyone that doesn't know, it's like there was this whole movement that's kicked off with like Easy Rider and then Raging Bull, where it was like Scorsese kind of, and this sort of auteur era of directors in the 70s, I think early 70s, late 60s, that started making really edgy films, like edgy in the sense that prior to that, there was less, I guess, respect for more artistic directors. And a lot of people talk about this as like a big moment, right? Back in the day when all these new types of kind of gritty 60s, 70s America films, like The Godfather fell into this category too, were heralding a new sort of generation of filmmakers. Coppola was another part of this group. So I don't know if it's speaking too highly of Kane Parsons and Curry Barker, but it does feel like we're entering something like this.
Well, it's needed clearly because
Yeah.
it feels like Hollywood has lost all kinds of innovation.
Yeah.
And with so much media out there, the consumer can select whatever they want. Like, they are going to look for great storytelling.
Yeah.
I think the days are done that you're going to wait for a movie to come and then you have something to do. Like, no, there's so much choice right now, and ways to be entertained or connected. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to look for something that's real, and I think this feels very real and very creative, but also just great storytelling. And it's not about like the money has gone in. It's not about the special effects, etc. Because we've seen a lot of that, but it doesn't improve the storytelling and the creativity.
It's interesting here. Like A24 is, I think it's another vote of faith in A24 as a company. You know, they're just like crushing it when it comes to being at the forefront of film. But also, we're all talking about horror as well. I'm not a massive horror fan, but this is kind of converting me in the sense that I haven't seen Obsession or Backrooms yet, but I want to because I feel like it's just such a big part of. And I've also just heard it's really good. Like, if someone recommends me a horror film because they say it's fun, it's cool, whatever. But this, I've heard like the Rotten Tomatoes the ratings are all super high for Backrooms and Obsession. So now, I mean, I really want to watch this, and I'm not a horror fan in general. So it's interesting how it's converged around A24 being great, but then also horror being this like new breakout category.
Yeah, absolutely. And with horror, it's an important element, at least to me. I am a horror fan.
Oh,
It's more
okay.
fun watching it together. It's kind of
Yeah.
scary watching it on your own.
Yeah.
So going to the theater to watch a horror movie is also a social thing.
Yeah.
So
Are,
it makes the experience much more fun and better.
are you gonna watch Obsession or Backrooms?
Yeah, I am. I still have Mandalorian on my list, but I
The
watch everything
film?
that's in this. Yeah, I watch everything that's in the Star Wars franchise.
Okay.
But I'm definitely am going to go to Obsession as well and the other one.
Okay.
But it's summer, so I don't want to sit in the theater. That's the only thing. But maybe if it's a really hot night, it can be
Well,
cool.
part of the summer too is what's happening now over the next month, starting in a week, right? We've got something big about to happen.
Yep. You mean something with the World Cup?
Yeah, I was watching this last night. Have you seen this?
Yeah, ripped the script, but yeah. Great, great movie. All the stars are there, but it feels like uh, we run the script.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit like the Nike commercial with the Brazilian team on the airport,
Yeah.
where you just see all the stars that are in the world are put in this movie. It's shot beautifully. It makes me wonder how you do it because all these players are not going to come together all at once. These players hardly have any time off.
Yeah.
But it's a bit what Adidas did, I think, on the last World Cup. Just put all the stars that they have in a movie, tennis players, basketball players, etc. There's actually not a real story. It's just like dropping
Yeah.
famous people.
Well, and sorry, just would you
So
contrast this with the Timothy Chalamet's Adidas ad? Do you think that's a better story than this one?
I think that is much more of the now. Yeah,
Yeah.
storytelling doesn't have everyone in it. Of course, Messi, Bellingham, etc. But that feels way more like authentic and a stronger storytelling element. This just feels like very American. Drop in the big names, Kim Kardashian.
This feels very
Everyone will
Hollywood.
like. I'm not saying I don't like it, but I think Adidas is more of the now. This is like
Yeah.
for me a rerun of the script, the
And
famous airport commercial that they did.
it's funny you
This
say
is
that
just
because yeah, this feels very Hollywood. And Adidas, at the end of the day, even though they're massive and global, it's a European company and Nike is an American company.
yeah. Well, as I said, I think Adidas tried to do this 4 years ago,
Yeah.
but I think Adidas just took it smaller, but actually made it bigger. What I do like what Nike has done is all these spin-offs that they've done locally with collabs. They work with Patta in Holland. They work with Palace in the UK. So they have managed to diversify,
This is
or
yeah.
not diversify, make it more relevant local. So I think they've done a good job on that. Funny enough, this came out after uh, they did these local spin-offs.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
is
here
that
you
part of
have
the
it.
strategy? Maybe the strategy is they do country level activations and ladders up to the massive big global moment. Whether it's right or wrong, it's a
I
different
get
story.
that. I get that. But there was a lot of discussion in Holland because the, uh, the Nike Patta collaboration is very niche,
Yeah.
and no one understood it. Like everyone was like, "What's
Oh,
this?" Like,
really?
yeah, like so, and that actually got a decent amount of attention, and where it's actually meant for a younger audience group, very urban, etc. Like.
Yeah.
Uh, Patta is very well known for being very stylish in urban communities, etc. Um, so, like a large majority of the people that saw it were like, "I don't get it." They probably don't even know what Patta is, let alone understood why they went in that direction.
This right here?
But I'm pretty sure that the target group loved it. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
Patta one. Yeah.
Well, because this is interesting where
And I
you're
think they
trying to
did the
be.
same. They did this. They did the same in some other markets as well. I think
Oh,
in
okay. I didn't know that.
so
I
like
well,
Korea, I think
oh,
5 or 6 or 7 of these. Yeah,
well, so they picked like a fashion brand that's local and like Palace, I think is a pretty good fit for the UK, but
yeah,
still,
very street fashion.
um,
Yeah, Palace is
yeah.
yeah one of my favorite shops in London. But yeah, and so
But
they used their big stars and combined it with a hot and a local fashion street brand. Yeah,
oh,
which
this is actually really look. They did Jacquemus in
yeah,
France.
there you have it.
Um, I only see European ones right now, but okay, Jacquemus in France. But I it's interesting because like these brands are all cooler than Nike. You know what I mean?
Oh, for
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, definitely, yeah, yeah. They add a lot of coolness to the brand. But I also think if you're a Pata, you're very honored if you can work with the Dutch national team,
Yeah.
even for
That's the
Jacquemus.
leverage.
Like
Yeah.
that's so like everyone wins. Like Nike gets to tap into hotter brands. These brands get to tap into Nike, but also like the biggest sports in the world.
Yeah.
France is the best team in the world. Like if you can associate yourself with that, that's amazing. So imagine all these young hero, young fans looking at this. They're gonna go, like, "Oh, I want this. I want to be part of
That's
that." So
cool.
I really like what they do on this one.
I,
It just struck me that they did this sooner than launch the script.
yeah. I like how Zlatan's always involved in this too. I think this adds a bit
Yeah,
more
yeah, yeah, yeah,
comedy,
yeah.
which is always a good like lighthearted thing. I think both Nike and Adidas, I think, do a great job with this. Where like Timothy Chalamet added a bit of comedy to the Adidas thing, and Zlatan is like always this kind of comedic relief. It's like he's intense but also funny. You know?
Yeah, I think it's the opportunity to make fun of yourself, and
Yeah,
probably a bit more difficult if you're an active football player,
that's
where it
true.
is. And if you're retired, Zlatan, of course, is
Yeah,
a personality on its own, but you've got, I think, much more room to play around and be bold.
yeah.
Uh, go over
Well,
the top, and Adidas does this as well, but they
well,
also work with the older stars. And actually, what I do like in the script, it's where LeBron sits on the other side of the table
the goats.
with Ronaldo, and then
Yeah.
they give each other the book, the goat, the goat, the goat. And so like that, that is, I think, very well done. Two of the biggest sports stars in the world,
I'm a big fan of.
more or less denying that they are uh, almost done with their careers.
I love
Yeah,
the is this who was it? Was it Channing Tatum? This part, this sort
yeah.
of Holland thing, that's funny. I think that was great. You know,
This is really funny.
now that I
Now
reflect, I think this is better than the Adidas one. I'm gonna say it. I prefer this one.
yeah,
The
well,
fun.
yeah, maybe, yeah. Well,
This
but maybe because I see it as something they've done before. Maybe it's me. Maybe if you haven't seen that one and you're younger, you go,
yeah.
wow, it's never been seen, never been done before. But the
Yeah,
execution is amazing. It all looks perfect.
yeah. To me, it's like a variety. Like it's like 12 ideas in one. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the Adidas one, like this is a whole different thing. Like this is like a movie thing, and then like Ronaldo, like
it is.
gets blown up. The Adidas one is great too, but this feels like I don't know. I feel like it's like a variety show. They had like 8 ideas in one, and there's an overarching vehicle, which is this film set. But I know the one you're talking about, the old Nike ads. I remember when I was a kid, like I think Ronaldinho was in them, right? Like I remember
Yeah,
that.
that feels like like a one-shot take almost. I
Yeah.
agree. There are different. There are multiple story elements in here, which makes it very
I,
easy to do smaller clippings,
yeah.
etc.
I
It's
was
in there, and it suits Nike, like all this
yeah.
action, and that is very
Well,
much Nike.
I like the breaking the fourth wall too, like that thing we just saw with like all the different producers. Like these are all probably extras or actual producers, you know, or
Yeah,
like different operators of the filming. So I think that that breaks the fourth wall in the sense that it's not just a highly glossy thing, even though it kind of is. It's like the whole theme of like, oh shit, like the whole camera crew, and also I like how they bring in like Central C for some reason, and then Cole Palmer, and in this next scene you'll see Clint from Cortez, right there. That's him. Yeah, Clint.
yeah.
So to me,
But the
it's like
Cole
it's
Palmer
more
thing
fun. Yeah.
is an interesting one as well because he didn't get selected. He's
Oh,
not
he did.
at
I
the
didn't
World
know
Cup.
that. So he's not on the team.
No, now
Wow.
unfortunately, I must suck big time if you
Oh,
are in this movie along with the best and biggest stars in the world. They're all playing at the World Cup. You're in it as well.
oh,
You're
Ted
popular,
Lasso. I forgot
but
about the Ted Lasso.
he
Yeah.
didn't get the ticket. So that is yeah, very unfortunate for him. But
Yeah.
these things take so long to make, like they probably produced it months ago.
This is great. This is great. So maybe we can close on a prediction of who do you think's going to win the World Cup?
Yeah, well, I'm
I
not
know who you want.
okay. First of all, not a prediction, but if France doesn't win, they've lost it. Meaning
Really?
they're so yeah, they're so big. They can make three teams and still win. So if France doesn't win, that's on themselves. Otherwise, it's probably going to be Spain.
Okay.
An outsider, maybe Germany, and if we're really lucky, the Dutch. But it has to be France. Their
Well,
team is so great. Got the best players in the world times three.
well, let's see how it goes. There's a
What do
lot.
you predict as a football soccer expert?
Well, of course, as an expert, you know, like I'm an expert in all this stuff. I just like
Yeah.
I want Ronaldo to win one. So like I know it's like a long shot, but
Oh yeah. Well, they got a good team.
yeah,
Definitely a good team.
I because
Yeah.
I
Well, Ronaldo will definitely we want to win one. Then he's definitely the goat.
it's his last
End of
shot,
story.
right?
Bam. It
Um,
is. It is. But many players have the last shot here.
yeah. But if I put my money on it, it'd be France. So, you know,
Yeah.
but like who knows?
Well, it's a pretty safe bet. But
Yeah.
how things can go wrong? One tip for me: there's this amazing Netflix documentary called Le Bus
The boost?
about the French team on the World Cup in 2010 when they didn't make it to the second round because there was a lot of, yeah, I would say friction within the team.
Oh, I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah, yeah, you got to see it. So like they had the best players
Yeah.
at the time and should have won, but yeah,
Well, this is like the have you seen my American version of that is the Redeem Team, the documentary on Netflix about like the US basketball team where they had done really badly at the Olympics and it was like really embarrassing. So then they like come back the next year with a new coach and then all these like legends come together and make it happen. So it's a similar-ish thing to this.
Yeah, but this was really a thing. Like even I think the Minister of Sports and Culture had to go to South Africa to sort this out.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was really, I still remember it. And I was like, what? You know, like, but so like these things can happen.
Yeah.
So I hope it doesn't. But even if you're as great as France is, uh, it can still go wrong. But Le Bus,
This looks
tip
interesting.
of
I'm gonna
the,
watch this.
you should watch it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And everyone's blaming each other
Yeah.
and who was ratting to the press.
I
Coach
mean,
is saying, yeah. So it's worthwhile watching.
I know. Maybe one
All
last
right.
thing here, because I was gonna say like à bientôt la semaine prochaine, but our best friend has created potentially one of the best songs in the World Cup history. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. You can't
Look
you
at this
can't
guy.
end the
Look at
yeah,
this guy. What an
yeah.
amazing man. So I'll be singing this and play. Look at him. Honestly, he's probably going to be more beloved by the fans than than almost anyone else. You know what I mean? Because the beauty of, and this is what we talked about in the Speed episode. Speed is so international, dude. It's like people from Croatia or from Nigeria or the countries that aren't always in the like Egypt, not that aren't always in the conversation. They've probably experienced iShowSpeed walking around and live streaming in their city. And if they're young people, they probably maybe tried to go see him. So he has this intense global fan base that I still think is underrated. I don't think anyone else in the world has a global fan base like iShowSpeed.
Well, and also feel confident enough to do this.
Yeah.
It's quite a thing. I
It
haven't
was
seen him. Has he made music before?
I have no idea. I don't think so. Look at this.
That was like
This is a
so like
legend.
bringing out a official World Cup song. That's
He
big.
he he needs to be the Secretary General of the UN one day. You know, look at the classic running
Well,
shot where he's running with kids from different nationalities. You know,
I'm
as
I'll vote for him, but I can't
I'm
vote for them. Yeah,
I'm a
no,
big
he's
fan.
done a great job.
He's amazing, and he's
All
also
right.
yeah, we share a hometown in Ohio, so my man.
Well, one thing is for sure. Talking about moving parts, I show speed moves at speed for sure.
Yeah. No, yeah, no one understands moving parts better than I show speed, and that's why we
No,
love it.
exactly. All right.
Amazing. See you
Is that a
next week.
wrap for this year, this week?
That's a wrap.
Let's keep on moving.